collective efficiency from LeBron and AD in this one. Just how would you evaluate their performance, not just in Game 5, but Game 2?
Two of the best players in the game, rising to the challenge in a closeout game, both delivering special performances, and obviously we don't win the game without them doing what they did tonight.
Frank, I know you'll have likely almost a week or perhaps a little bit shorter, and you don't know who you're going to play yet in the next round. How would you just evaluate your defense and your team in general after these 5 games and the points where you think you need to sharpen up before your next matchup?
Yeah, I was very impressed with how we committed to the defensive end the first 4 games. This team was posting an offensive rating of 124, which would be the best offensive rating in the history of the game. And for the first 4 games, our defense was as sharp as it's been all year. Their offensive rating was around 100 or under. Some of the fourth quarter blowouts factored into that, but we performed at an extremely high level on the defensive end in this series. Obviously, it slipped some tonight. Different type of mental challenge with Dame being out and whatnot. But overall, very excited about where that's at, and whoever we play in the next round, will be a different challenge entirely.
Hey Frank, it's Dave. Coming into the series, there was so much talk about how hot of an opponent the Blazers were. You just mentioned their offensive rating. Obviously, they went 6-2 in the seeding round. They won Game 1, and you talked about, and others talked about how it would be an opportunity to sharpen your own game. How do you feel like you guys got better this series?
Well, it's tough to have a defensive plan where you have to double as much as we had to double in this series. So, there's a lot that goes into that, both corralling the man on the ball and committing and covering things on the backside. And, we prefer not to double when it's, when we don't have to. By doing so, as much as we did in this series, it really sharpened us to make sure we're covering all those areas. So, I think it definitely improved us. Knowing what they're capable of kept the sense of urgency throughout the series. And, we said coming into this that if we were able to beat the Blazers, that, them being such a powerhouse offense is going to help us in later rounds, and hopefully that's the case.
Allie?
Kyle Goon?
Frank, how much would you sort of sense that maybe some of the emotion of the last couple of days, or maybe even exhaustion in the last couple of days, or maybe fatigue, contributed to maybe just not having that sharpness tonight?
I think maybe a little bit, but I don't really feel like we didn't have a mental edge. I just think we were facing a different opponent. When a guy loses, when a team loses a guy like Dame Lillard, it just changes their whole dynamic offensively. And everybody else gets more shots, more minutes, more touches, and more confidence. So it was just a different type of defensive challenge. I felt like we worked extremely hard on that end of the floor, and I don't know if the last couple of days was a big factor in that.
It's kind of been a theme, it seems like, in this series of LeBron getting AD going, so to speak, on offense. Did you see that tonight?
I did see it in the second half. I know AD had a big first quarter. Didn't really get going in the second, and we wanted to get him going a little bit early in the third. I thought Bron did a great job of that, but honestly, AD did a lot of it himself as well. He just both of those guys rose to the challenge. They elevated their play. And obviously AD having a huge, I think, 30-point second half, 31-point second half, something like that, was a factor of both. LeBron getting him involved, getting him going a little bit, and then AD just asserting himself.
All right, Tanya?
You relied on Alex and KCP for their defense all series. What can we say about, I know that the first half of the defense struggled a little bit, but in the closing portion, what can you say about how they
They were exceptional. we don't win this series if those two guys don't play at the level that they played at on two of the best guards in the game, in Dame and CJ. And you know, what I love about them is that they're both two-way players. They're contributing on both ends. You know, even though they're excelling on the defensive end, you know, they're making plays offensively as well. And like I said, you know, they were a huge part of this series victory.
Do you think that I mean, when people were talking about the Blazers being a difficult matchup for the Lakers 300 years ago when that was happening, do you think that they took personally the idea that these guards were going to be just, that you guys didn't have a way to stop these guards?
Those two guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they took the challenge. They recognized the threat, that this is a team that could beat us if we don't rise to the challenge on that end of the floor. And you know, it's not just the two guards. And Terry Stotts is one of the most respected coaches in the game. You know, I have the utmost respect for what he brings to the table and the way his teams play. And you know, that was a heck of a basketball team that we were able to beat. But those two guys, you know, like I said, you know, when you have two little guards that are as explosive as CJ and Dame are, you know, what you do on the ball, that's where it all starts. So those two guys rose to the challenge.
All right, Tanisha, anyone on your end?
Yes, Melissa?
Thanks, Tanisha. Hey, Frank, how much do you think the mood in the bubble is going to change if players' families are allowed inside on the
I'm sorry, the mood when the players what?
The players' families are allowed inside the bubble in the next couple of days.
I know that our guys are going to be really happy, you know, and I think that will lift everyone's spirits. You know, I think that's a big deal, you know, for those guys to be able to have them coming in. So, you know, I think that's definitely going to be a positive influence.
Last two on my end, Bill Orm.
I want that.
Bill. Okay, let's go to Andy Kamenetsky.
Hey, Frank. KCP tonight, I believe, tied his season high for assists with 5. It's well above his averages for the season. Given how much playmaking responsibility is on LeBron typically, what does it do for you guys when it's not just other guys chipping in, but maybe a surprise contributor like KCP along those lines?
Well, that's what we've been all year. We've been a different guy every night as the third guy type of team. And, you know, we've really emphasized of late, you know, when the ball swings, attacking closeouts and, you know, having a mindset of attacking for layups and free throws. And if it's not there, then we advance it to the second side and play paint to great basketball. And I thought Danny and KCP, Alex, Kuz, even Dwight and JaVale, you know, those guys all elevated that aspect of their game. And, you know, you see some of the offensive numbers, you know, over the last few games that was a result of that. So KCP, you know, like you said, 5 assists and did an exceptional job on that side of the ball with regard to that.
I'm going to try Bill one more time.
Can you hear me, Frank?
I can, Bill.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. You know, obviously families coming in will change the dynamic in the bubble a little bit, but I'm curious how you're looking at these next several days where you have, I think, a minimum of 5 days until you would potentially play again. Players have talked a lot about kind of the mental strain in the bubble. Families probably change that, but how are you approaching this layoff?
I know we're off tomorrow, and beyond that, I'm not really sure yet. You know, we'll huddle up with the coaching staff, you know, make sure we're, like always, trying to strike the balance of, you know, rest and being fresh and healthy with being in rhythm, in shape, and preparing for our opponent. So, you know, we'll figure out when the next game is, and then we'll figure out what that schedule looks like.